So today's episode is very in line with spooky season. One of my great friends here has a really interesting story. Nick really, as you know, listeners, if you've been listening to us, Nick really likes scary things. I don't like scary things. So I will probably be peeing myself during this episode. But we have someone here who has a firsthand account of a ghost story. And so, Nick, when I brought this episode to you, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts going into hearing this story? You have not heard this story at all. I have, I'll say. I'm excited to see your reaction. And honestly, I'm probably just going to let our guest tell the story, see your reactions. I'll kind of like moderate as needed. But what are your reactions kind of going into this?
Like I said, I love a good ghost story. I love a plot twist. I love haunted houses. I also hate haunted houses. Like, I definitely like cling to the person I'm with in the haunted house.
Really?
But
I don't know if I knew that.
Oh yeah. Like, I'm definitely, yeah, but I still love them, and I like scary movies, and I like Halloween. So I'm very excited about this. I will say, I just want to put in this like very small anecdote that when we were prepping this episode, like when we were setting up the equipment and everything, you guys couldn't hear me. And so I was like, that would be really, really funny if the whole time you're asking me, like, so do you believe in ghosts? And I'm not answering, like, nobody, like, you guys can hear me, but in the, the recorded audio, it sounds like you're just talking.
It's just you talking to yourself
nothing the whole time. Then you both look absolutely like, I don't know. But I just thought that was funny. But
yes.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to hear this story.
Okay, so let me introduce our guest here today. So our guest, we actually met at Accepted Students Day for a program that we're both in right now. She is part of the cohort that I'm in my grad program. She's one of the nicest, sweetest, like most energetic people you'll ever meet. Just something about her presence in a room always will bring a smile to your face no matter what type of day you're having. And I kind of prefaced, she has a specific story to tell, but I almost feels like she has a story to tell about any topic, like about anything. So it's just really great. But everyone, please welcome my friend Gabby. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for having me and for that lovely introduction. I'm just excited to be here and share a little bit about my story and my experience with you guys. I'm excited to see how Nick reacts or what he thinks about it.
Yeah. And thanks for being willing to share it, because I know that this story is a personal story too, and like, a family story. And so we're just happy to have you, and for, I don't know, hopefully this will be fun for you too, and not just making you come on and share something that's super personal to you. But
yeah.
I'm really excited. You asked me, Justin, right before we started, and then you told me not to answer until we started recording.
I think Gabby was going to ask.
I was going to ask. Yes. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
What's your vibe on ghosts? 1 to 10.
Like, do you believe?
Do you believe? Yeah.
So I've never seen one. I don't like, I'm not like, like, I feel like when you say, I don't believe in ghosts, it's like, it sounds like it's like, I don't believe, it's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And like, that's not me.
Malarkey.
I'm very open to the idea. I don't want to see one, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But I love a ghost story, and when it's a first-hand account from someone I know, that makes it like more believable too. Like, I'm really excited. Yeah. Yeah. But I do believe, if you're asking if I do believe or I don't believe, I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a difference for you between like spirits and ghosts?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I feel like I don't really know. Like,
right.
I don't believe, like, does our soul go somewhere? Where does that energy, if you want to call it energy? I don't believe that it just stops existing.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I almost feel like they're one and the same. I feel like a ghost for me, I think, is a type of spirit. I don't think I'm well versed enough to be like, this is my hard and fast definition of it.
That's what I was trying to get at. It's like, I don't know what you...
Right. Like, and I don't know, what do you think, Gabby? What is your take on it?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, ghost is just maybe like a defense mechanism I put in. Like, doesn't sound as spooky, creepy as spirit, but I do associate like this and like the paranormal and that type of thing, and maybe my story with spirits. And I think it goes to that piece that you mentioned, Nick, of like, maybe it's like a part of the spirit, after we pass or not. I don't know. I don't know that. And I don't know much about paranormal stuff. I just know what happened to me. So I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit of that with you guys.
I'm very excited.
Let's do it then. So set the scene. I've heard this story before, like I said. So I'm hoping I don't pee myself as much as I did the first time that I heard the story. Actually, the first time Gabby told it was after Big Brother Weekend ended. Our like program Big Brother Weekend ended, and we were in like, let me set the scene for that at least.
Please,
we were like, it was raining,
so
like really torrential downpour raining. We were in the mountains in West Virginia in this cabin.
The energy went out for like a few minutes.
Yes,
went
the
back
power
on.
went
Yeah,
out
the
for,
power
like
went
a
out.
few minutes, and we were telling ghost stories. One of our other, or actually, Allison's been on the show before. Allison was telling a story that freaked me out, and then Gabby told her story, and that freaked me out more. And Gabby's very good at telling stories too, and so it just really drew me in.
A good storyteller.
So anyway, I just gassed you up.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but let's see. Yeah, we can jump right into things a little bit. Just before I guess I get into it, I want to preface, like, I think everyone is entitled to believing what they believe, and this is something that happened to me and maybe people in my family that feels real, and what we saw and experienced was in that moment real to us. That doesn't mean that I expect anyone to agree or not, but I'm just going to try and recount as the best as I can to my truth and what happened. So, okay. So I guess the important thing to know too is that before this happened, I wouldn't say I was someone looking for this to happen, like ghost stories, all that. Sure, as a kid, I was interested in, like just knowing about like those paranormal Ghostbusters shows, that type of thing.
Right.
That was like as a child. So this story takes place as like a teenager up until a young adult. So, I mean, yeah, as a kid, my twin sister and I would like be into those things. But when this happened, it wasn't on the forefront of my mind or anything like that. So this takes place in 2016 when I moved so I was living outside of the country. I moved back to the United States, and this is in the house my family and I were first moving into from that move. So this is like mid-2016, and we move into this house, and the second I step into this house, for some reason, don't know what, I just turn to my family and say, there's something here. I feel that there's something here. Now, I don't know what that something was, and I wasn't leading on to like a spirit or anything. It was just like, I just felt like something was there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you think like it could have just been like there's someone here, like there's a person here, like a living person? Like,
yeah, I don't know what was going
like
on.
you weren't really like, oh, we're not like it sounds like it wasn't like if I'm understanding correctly, it sounds like it wasn't like oh, there's something here. Like, it wasn't like it didn't, like, was it like a deep, like, you know how some people are like, oh, it's not that deep, or we're just like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah, no, it was a feeling of like, okay, there's something, and definitely not something like amazing. It's just not us here. If that makes sense.
Right.
At the time, I didn't think like, oh, it's a spirit, or oh, it's a human in here. Just like the energy. It was something that led me to say that. And I don't know what that was that led me to say that. It just like kind of came out of me.
That's
when you told it the
interesting.
first time, you were like, there's an energy, there's a presence.
Yeah, there's something I'm
Those
feeling.
2 words, were like
presence. Exactly.
Yeah.
And soon after, I mean, minutes after, I kind of found where that was coming from. So I'll go into that. So I get into this house and I'm exploring this house for the first time. I go upstairs, and in the master suite, there's a walk-in closet. And the second I step foot into that walk-in closet, like not even in it, honestly, the door was open. I just get like this feeling like all over my body. I'm like, okay, this, whatever I was referencing, this is it. Like, and I don't mean the closet. I just mean there was like this hub of energy or presence that for some reason was represented within this walk-in closet. And I'll give a little bit of background to that. Sometimes when you're talking about spirits, if you believe in that stuff, there can be hubs of energy where that energy is most concentrated in a house or in wherever the space may be. And this is definitely the hub of where the energy led to, I would say, out of this entire story. So it's just important to keep in mind, like, that was the beginning of everything.
Not to like, is that kind of, again, I don't watch horror movies, but is that like, I know The Conjuring and like Annabelle are like based on true stories. Like, is that kind of the same idea of like the doll was kind of a hub maybe for this spirit? I don't know. I'm talking to you like you're an expert.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
This is just your story. This is just your story. Maybe Nick is an expert in this because he loves the horror movie stuff, but.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because I legitimately thought you were going to say because I spent a lot of time in the closet. I'm not joking.
Oh my
That's
God.
where I thought you were going. No, I'm also not an expert, and the type of horror that I watch isn't often like ghost related. It's more like Get Out,
Like thriller.
Thriller, yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do believe in what you just shared about like the energy being concentrated and like attached to a certain, like, I watch, and I don't know, this could also just be reality TV. I don't know if this is has any truth to it at all, but the Tyler Henry Hollywood media, like, I've watched some clips on YouTube of his readings. He's a medium, and he basically reads celebrities and tries to connect them with their loved ones who have passed. And he often says that like there are energies that are connected to certain objects. So I do believe in that, not because Tyler Henry said it, but just because
Yeah.
you know, it seems yeah.
Yeah, I think I honestly don't like those like spirit movies either. Like, that's just not my cup of tea too. So that's all to say that I think it's more so like, thank you for sharing that. Like, maybe it was like a representation. I don't know. I just know this closet made me feel really uncomfortable every time I walked into it, to the point where I lived in this house for multiple years, and my family did up until 2021 actually. And
Oh wow, so recent.
yeah, so I literally would not walk in alone, shower if that closet door were open because it was right next to the shower. Walk into the closet alone, even with the lights on, rarely. And if I did, I'd run in, turn on the light, get my things, and skedaddle. So, yeah, just for some reason that closet really irked me. But then again, I wasn't reading too much into it. Again, I said I felt something, but I wasn't at that point thinking like, oh, there's a spirit here by any means.
Right.
Okay. So the scene is set. You moved into the house 2016. This closet just gave you weird vibe, weird energy, weird presence. You would avoid it at all costs. What did your family think about? Did they believe you? Were they like, "Oh, Gabby, you're being silly," or Did they dismiss you?
Yeah.
Like, what were their reactions?
I would say that my family through this definitely has, like, my parents, they do a good job of validating me, like, oh, I understand, like, that's how you're feeling. But there's always a but. They were very skeptical and didn't really get into the things I shared at the beginning, at least. And my twin sister definitely did understand me. But at that point, they were like, oh, okay, like, maybe we just need to settle in and make this house cozy, you know? It was more so that feeling of, like, it being a new house, and maybe it just feels uncomfortable to be here. So.
I also just think the fact that you have a twin, too, is very, like, plays an important part in this story. I don't know why, but, like...
We're Twitches.
Like, just the fact...
Well,
no, but just the... yes. Just the fact that you both, like... Because... Correct me if I'm wrong, but she also had experiences with this, right?
Yes, and
okay, so that's like, yeah,
that'll be part of the story too. And I joke about Twitches, but that'll come up a little bit later. So, anyways, we move in 2016. This has just, you know, that feeling of there's something up with this house. Don't think too much into it. At that time, within I would say the first month or so. Nothing had stuck out, like nothing had happened at that point that was catching my eyes, anything like that. I'm at a friend's house with my mother and sister, and like I said, my mom is a skeptic. She has been very skeptical in the past about like this idea of ghosts and spirits and that type of thing. So we're all sitting in a circle at my friend's house just talking about this video we saw on like Instagram, and it was of this guy, and he was just showing that like this spirit or something at his house was basically like turning on the sinks and then making his toilet paper roll, it sounds so weird, keep rolling until the toilet paper roll like ended, right? And obviously like these videos online are usually not true. So my mom, like, as a skeptic, was like, oh my goodness, you guys, like, obviously this is fake. That is impossible. Like, there's an explanation of physics, or he just staged this. Because, mind you, he was filming it happening. He was like, oh my gosh, this is happening right now. And just
so that makes it, like, harder to believe.
Yeah, of course, right? So she's like, you guys are, like, gullible for believing this, whatever. Like, literally shitting on the story, okay? So she was like shitting on this video. I get it. It's online, whatever. My friend, my sister, their mom, we were like, yeah, but like the video might not be real, but like these things happen. My friend's mom was like, yeah, like these things can happen, and you know, you never know, whatever. My mom leaves. I stay at my friend's house. We do a sleepover. My mom goes back to our new house, and that morning she wakes up and she goes to the bathroom. And she's getting ready to leave and goes for the toilet paper roll. And there's about like half of it. So it's like a thick roll still. Mm-hmm. And she pulls a piece off. And it slowly just starts rolling and rolling and rolling. And she's just in awe, just like watching it. She said she was just like had no words in the moment. And she just watches it until it rolls and rolls until it reaches the end. So there's a pile of toilet paper on the floor, right? And she was like, what the fuck? So her...
And this is in the bathroom that's with the closet,
exactly,
right?
Like
right near the closet.
In the house, in her master suite. And she's like, okay, well, this can't be possible. Like intellectualizing the entire thing, and like tries to recreate this again with the same roll, with another roll. And she can't reproduce what happened. Like, she's tried and tried and tried, and it just doesn't happen.
Just picturing your mom trying to, like, all right, spin.
Right.
Like, it's not going.
And the funny thing was, like, you know, like, you can pull it, and it'll, you know, like, if you pull hard, it'll keep rolling for a little bit.
Right.
She doesn't remember pulling hard, but even so, like, there comes a moment where it stops, and there would be some speed to that. This was, like, a slow, just roll after roll after, or unroll, I would say, until it reached the end. There wasn't even like a momentum, let's say, that she left off. So of course she tells me that, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, this happened the morning after the night where she was literally making fun of this guy online for having that happen to him.
For the same thing, yeah.
And mind you, my mom's like in her 50s at the time almost, or late 40s, and that this has never happened to her in her life, right? So, anyway, so I would say that is the ironic truth to this story that we'll go into, that there was just a point to be proven, I think, in that moment. Where she didn't
by the spirit. The spirit had a point.
Like,
to prove.
I think it's just like showing like, hey, maybe this is real, and I'm going to tease you about it.
Okay.
Listen, if he was living in the closet, he was a little sassy.
I appreciate that input. That makes us feel much better. Oh, and this, I will tell you right now, this spirit was very sassy. And like I said, a trickster.
I'm telling you.
So after that, I mean, things just started happening. Like, I would hear walking sounds around the house all the time, up the stairs, like so much. Like, it always sounded like someone was like running up the stairs, running down the stairs. And my room was like facing the stairs of our house. So I would just hear that a lot. And at first I used to try and push it away. Like, it's fine. It's nothing. But there comes a point where it just happens so much. So you're like, okay, like, is there someone up here? Like, what's going on? And this would also happen when I'd be alone in my room. So there were many times that this happened where I'd be like in my room and I hear someone like walk in. Like, let's say I'm doing something, so I'm not paying attention. So I start talking to the person. And this is not uncommon. I live with my dad at the time, my mom, and my sister. And I turn around and I've been talking for a few minutes and no one's there. And I'm like, okay, who was I talking to? There was another time, like, I was in my room, my door was open, and I saw like someone walk like in front of my door, like in the hall. So I go out like talking as if it's like my sister or something. Again, no one's upstairs.
Did you feel like compelled to do, like, did you feel like it was you? You know what I mean? Like, just for clarification, like, were you choosing to talk to this?
Yeah, no. I would, those moments where I would talk, it's because I thought my sister was in the room. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, did you see what happened? And today or something, or like at school. And then I'd turn and no one would be like there. So I'd be, okay, well, that's rude. No one's here.
Right.
And I think those things would just happen. And I wasn't necessarily afraid of them because I'd just be like, dang, like I'm always missing. Like it always feels like someone's here and they're not, type of thing. And this would happen like with my sister too. It wasn't just me. Like especially hearing, walking and no one being outside, things like that.
Right.
So that continued on until the spring of 2017 now, where at this point, I knew something was up in our house, and we would even kind of, my sister and I, like, joke about it just because, like I said, these encounters, just feeling like someone was there when they weren't, thinking I saw someone walk in a room when they weren't, just would happen a lot. And we'd hear a lot of things, and we'd always sum it up, or my parents would, to like the house or the wood or something like that.
Right.
Even though my stairs were carpet, so that's important to note too.
Yeah.
So anyways, so it is 2017 spring. I am a junior in high school and I am doing A-Push homework. If you guys took A-Push, it is a lot. AP history.
That's scary.
Yeah,
US
it's
history.
scary in itself. Exactly. And I'm just studying up late, which was pretty normal for me. Like up until 2 a.m. I was studying. And I guess this is an important part to note that my sister and I shared a Jack and Jill bathroom. So through my room, I could walk to her room through our bathroom. And then, I could walk out of her room too.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm in my room. I'm studying. I get done. Everyone's asleep in my house. I'm super fine, not thinking anything of it. I mean, I have AP art or AP history in my mind at that point. So I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed. I go to my sister's room through our bathroom, and I go to leave outside to a hall because I'm going to walk to my parents' room. So essentially, I'm walking through this bathroom, walk in her room, open her door to this hallway that we have. The second I open the door, I am departed. Like, all lights are off, everyone's sleeping, with this man in front of me, okay?
Oh, absolutely not.
This
That's when I
man-
would have been like, all right.
And I can't explain to you, I don't even know what was going on in that second. It was more so of a feeling of knowing and seeing at the same time. So, like, it's not like I can picture a face exactly or anything, but it was just like this bigger, I knew it was a man for some reason. I knew it was a man. It was like in the shape, but like there's no like characteristics to it. It's just more so like the feeling of a presence, right?
Okay.
And for some reason, the color green associated with it, which sounds so weird, but it'll come up.
Okay.
Anyways, when I saw that, I screamed bloody murder, the loudest scream I've ever given in my life. Immediately,
I would have too.
Yeah. Immediately run into a closet in my sister's room. We're big on closets here. It was a tiny closet. I sit in there and I'm rocking, sobbing. My dad comes in, my sister's screaming, she woke up. My dad comes in with a bat thinking that there's an intruder. My mom's like, oh my God, we need to go get them. Like, there's someone in the girl's room. Like, we need to go.
Right.
So he's like in his boxers, like holding up a bat.
I'm dead.
And they
So is the
find
ghost.
me in the closet, like unconsolable, like rocking, crying. Like, I've never felt that amount of terror in my life to this day.
My God.
And I cried for 2 hours straight. And I didn't even know what would really happen. I just felt it. And it was so scary. So at this point, I know for some reason, whatever, like it was just a concrete, I guess, example of like what had been happening. I'm like, this is a man. There's a man presence here. For some reason, that's associated with green because I like saw green all over him. And I didn't understand why. And yeah, so that was the first like concrete thing that I saw. And when I mentioned Twitches earlier, it's because my twin sister and I both were experiencing things. And if you've ever watched Twitches, you know that they're twin witches. They're identical.
For those who are either too old or too young to have seen Twitches,
Exactly.
it's like a Disney Channel original movie, Halloween. What are the actors? Tia and Tamara.
Yeah.
Mowry? Is that their last name?
Actually, one of them lives in my town back home. Fun fact. Okay.
That can't be a coincidence.
Well, lived
Were the
there.
Twitches?
I know.
I don't know.
She lived there for a while. I don't know if she still lives there. But
Yeah. Well, twin individuals that have magical powers.
Exactly.
And senses. And things.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but one of them would like experience things during the day, the other one would experience things during the night. And funny enough, with my sister and I, that's kind of how it went in the sense of I would experience a lot of these things sensory-wise. Like this happened, like it would show up to me. So like I saw whatever this was. And a lot of these things would happen. Like I'd see something. And she would too, just not to the extent, I guess, this presence showed themselves to me more. And to my sister, this would happen in her dreams. So I'll get into a little bit of that. So even from before this, my sister, a handful of times in her life, has experienced these dreams that are a little more than dreams. In them, she calls them like the spirit dreams because you can just really sense, she can really sense the presence of whatever is in her dream. It doesn't feel like a dream. It feels like she's there, and it's always in the room that she's sleeping in, that like when she's having the dream.
Interesting.
Is it more like an out-of-body experience in a way?
Can she wake up?
Yeah,
from it,
I
like,
mean,
on
we
her
don't
own?
know. Yeah, she can wake up, and she does. But she's like in this dream for a while, and she knows when it's not, a dream, like I said, because she'll be in the room that she's currently sleeping in, and things will happen, and it's very vivid, and she can feel things. I don't know. I don't know much about like out of body stuff. So I don't know, but she's experienced these before. And that wasn't a stranger to what was going on here because she did have some dreams. And one of them, so this is after I saw this man, essentially, this presence. She was having a dream one night, and it was one of those dreams. And she was in the room she was sleeping in, and this presence and this manly presence shows up and grabs her really hard, like squeezes her shoulders really hard to the point where she...
You.
What?
No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? No, thank you. Squeezes her like with a lot of pain to the point it hurt so much she woke up. And she woke up feeling like so violated and crying, and she felt that pain of that squeeze. So it was just a really uncomfortable situation and very creepy, scary thing that happened. And I guess it's important to note too, like the more we found out about this, like the more this presence showed themselves, the more things would happen to those characteristics that were shown. So he kind of showed that he was a man. So then like this manly presence was even more evident. And like he grabbed her shoulders and stuff and squeezed her. And it was just it was getting creepier, let's say. It wasn't walking up the stairs anymore.
Right.
And in the meantime, like I still refuse to go into my mom's closet. Things like that are happening. But we are a very light family. Like we try to, make the best and just be like, it's okay, like whatever. My parents aren't believing us at this time fully, like they're skeptic, but I get a feeling like they were a little creeped out, to be honest, because they wouldn't negate us. Like they wouldn't shut us down. Yeah.
Right. I would be creeped out too. Like even if I were this did not happen, I'd be like, on edge at least. Like
I don't know how I would be if I were in your parents' shoes either, if like these things kept happening. I mean, like it's too much to be a coincidence, even if you're like a skeptic. I don't know. And didn't you say like things, maybe you're going to get to it, but like you would lose things?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're
I'm
right
jumping,
on that. Oh, no, you're not jumping. We're right there, actually.
Okay, we're right there.
So
I have a question too.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to. Was there ever, because this would be my fear, like in myself, was there ever a point that you were both like, I'm losing it, like something is because I would have, that would have been my fear, because I always
for sure
put
you
the
always
blame
fear
on
you're
me,
losing
like,
it.
I think because this was like such a pinpointed thing that was happening like at the house, and like in between these things we'd keep it very light. It wouldn't extend to anything else outside of like these moments that would happen. So like school, we were doing great, like, and this would never happen outside of these circumstances. So we didn't necessarily feel like that. But we were like, okay, something creepy and unpleasant is happening. We don't know what. It was a lot about like I wasn't, when I say like I hear someone come in, I thought someone walked in. Like that happens to, I feel like everyone. Like sometimes if our sibling, like we thought one of our siblings or family members were there, and I'm like, oh wait, never mind, they're not. It was just happening a little too often, and it was a strong feeling that someone was there when they're not. So yeah, I mean, I definitely had doubts of like, I still do. I'm like, whoa, like, did this really happen? Like, that's so much. And because I get tense when I talk about it, and I was like, yeah, there's no other way. Like, I just accepted it at this point. But
yeah, that makes sense too. The questioning of like, did this really happen like nowadays? Because I even have, and I'm not talking about like paranormal stuff, but I even will like think about that. I'll be like, oh my God, that was so absurd. Like, did that actually happen? Like, it's such a core memory or core belief, but it's like, did that really happen? I have that too. So I can see where you were coming from, especially when it comes to something that we're told is not real.
For sure. For sure. And with that, so Justin kind of highlighted some things that happened, which things were moving around. And I don't say I saw things moving around and floating. That did not happen. What did happen, though, is that like things around my room and house would go missing a lot and show up in places that, like, why did this show up here? And I didn't think anything of it at first. Like, I always want to give myself grace to not jump to those conclusions that it was something else. Like, I did try to rationalize a lot. There just comes a point where I couldn't.
Right.
So, like, for example, I don't know, like, let me say, like my makeup or something, like, would go missing and would show up downstairs, or, which is, like, okay, fine, like, I could have brought down the makeup, I don't remember, or, like, something from my desk that has no place me carrying in my hand going downstairs would show up in, like, the kitchen, or something would show up in the middle of my desk, on top in the middle of my desk, and I had no recollection, I don't know how to say that, sorry.
You're good. Recollection
of, like, moving these things, touching these things. Like, things would just go missing for a while. I'd try to be looking for them, and then they'd just show up in the most random ass places. I'd be like, okay, I've been looking for this for so long, and now it's just here. But that was happening a lot. So it was just frustrating more than anything, because I was like, oh my gosh, I really need this, and it's not here. And then it shows up days later in my, like, sister's room or something. Mind you, like, I've been going through her room in between days and it hadn't been there, type of thing. And I check in with my family members, of course, like, did you move this? Did you see this? And it was always like, no, like, it was probably you, that type of thing.
Those types of things, I mean, my family never had a paranormal presence, but those types of things would cause massive fights in my family, just in general.
And imagine sisters that are sharing a bathroom, like twin sisters, like, did you take my thing?
Yeah.
Why did you put it downstairs?
Right.
Like, I've been looking for this for a week.
It's a playful spirit. It's just really, it's a playful spirit.
So, yeah. So what that led me, I was fine. I was like, whatever. I hadn't connected the dots on that yet, but I was just getting frustrated. I hadn't even said, like, this is him or, like, the spirit doing this. I was just like, dang, this is just so annoying that this keeps happening. Like, it's odd, really odd. I'm not going to assume anything. This keeps happening until 2018 spring. So this is a year since I saw the man. My sister has had this dream between this year. You know, things are just continuing to happen. And I'm getting ready to go on a senior trip with my high school, and I can't find my retainer. Sounds so funny, so lame, but I can't find my retainer.
So high school.
Yeah, so high school.
Yeah.
And if I don't sleep with my retainer, my teeth will shift.
I'm a prime
We've
example
now
of that.
entered into a teen melodrama.
Right? I was like 17 at the time, and I was like, dang, where's my retainer? Like, I really need it.
You had just finished with your headgear.
Yeah. Stop. And I just couldn't find it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go on my trip, not bring it. Totally fine. I'll have my mom look for it while I'm gone, and she'll be able to find it. My mom told me that she looked through every corner of that house, okay? Everywhere to find that retainer and couldn't. She was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't find it. Like, we're going to just have to go make an appointment, get a new retainer. I just can't find it anywhere. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm annoyed because I'm like, I lost my retainer. Like, this is so frustrating. Where did I put it? My mom, you guys know, like, parents can kind of find your stuff even if it's in front of you.
My mom has a
dad
magic
is famous
power.
for that.
Yeah, like, if anyone can find it, it's my mom.
Yeah,
and
all three of us, my siblings, my dad will look, and then my mom will be like, it's right there.
It's right there,
like,
exactly. And even my mom couldn't find it. So I was like, okay, whatever. I lost my retainer. So 2 weeks of this have passed, and I'm frustrated because my teeth are shifting a little bit, and I'm on my bed watching a YouTube video. And this YouTube video is about this girl, and she's just talking about how she's had these things happening to her and how she has, like, a trickster spirit in her house. And I was like, okay. And she was just telling her own stories. And she was like, you know, like, my things will go missing and they'll end up in the middle of my sink. I'll lose things and they'll end up in the middle of my desk, of my counter. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she's like, it's this trickster spirit. And they do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening. He's moving my stuff. He's messing with me. Like, he's doing this. Like, what the heck? And I start getting, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, dude, like, I'm over it. So I literally kind of yell at him. I yell at him in a joking way, though. Like, at the end of the day, I still don't know, like, 100% if this is real or not. I believe it is. So I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing here. You're a trickster spirit. You're the one moving my things. I know you took my retainer. You better fucking give that retainer back. Like, I remember literally saying that and, like, cussing and everything. I was so mad. But also, like, kind of laughing at myself because I'm like, okay, like.
Screaming in your room by yourself.
I'm talking to nothing. Like, I don't actually think that, like, the spirit's hearing me. I was more of a way for me to just release what I had.
Yeah.
I didn't take it seriously.
Right.
Did not take it seriously. Anyways, like 15 minutes pass, right? I watch this video, said those things, and I go shower in the Jack and Jill bathroom that I had with my sister. Mind you, like, this Jack and Jill bathroom is small. There's one sink, so we don't have a double sink. And, like, I think one soap dispenser can fit on there, maybe a toothbrush or something. Like, it's pretty small. It's a white sink. You know, we keep it organized. Whatever. I'm showering, and no one knows I said that or watched this video, and my mom comes in. And she's like, Gabrielle, you need to see this. You don't know what I just found. And I was like, oh, what? You know, on top of our sink, the clear sink that we checked multiple times, is just on top of the sink, perfectly there.
Oh my God.
Just like the girl said in the video what happened to her. My retainer is there. It had been 2 weeks.
It's just,
Like,
yes,
what?
whatever I just
Right?
sound I just made. I don't know what that was.
My retainer's there.
What was your reaction in that moment? Were you like, the
Yeah, I
motherfucker?
was like, wait.
Meaning the
I think
spirit.
that was more so of a confirmation.
Wait, he
like,
listens.
wait, something. Yeah,
He
is
listens.
listening. There is something here, right? Like, it's just more and more confirmation. I was like freaking out because then I'm like, Mom, you don't know. I just did this and I watched a video and it's a trickster spirit. And I told him what to do. I didn't think it was going to happen like this. You know, like, I get out. I'm like, I need to go tell my sister. No way. No one's going to, you know, like, no way they're going to believe me. My mom was kind of like, she was dumbfounded. She's like, I looked everywhere. Like, no way. Like, you had to put this here, or someone did. No one did, right? Like, that's the truth. So she was like super confused. And anyway, so I put on this towel, put a towel in my hair. I wrap myself in this towel, this very distinct towel that we have, only like 2 of. And it's one that I was gifted. It's a white towel with pink roses on it, pink and red roses on it, all over it. We only have 2 of them, like in the millions of towels that we had at home. And that's the one I'm using. I wrap myself up, and this is relevant, by the way. I'm not just sharing what I bathe with and dry myself with.
And now we're going to pivot into Gabby's morning
Shower
routine.
time.
Yeah.
So, like, I wrap my hair up in, like, a towel, whatever. And I'm wrapped myself in this, like, floral towel. I go to my sister's room, and I'm just standing there going to go talk to her, and I see that she's sleeping. And that same second, she wakes up, and she's like, oh my God, like, kind of, like, creeped out, like panting, like, you know, like, in distress, it seems like. I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, Jillian. Like, I kind of ignore that because I'm like, I have important information. Like, you were napping, whatever. Like, I need to tell you this.
Right. Right.
And I go to tell her about my retainer, and she's like, oh my God. I'm like, what? Like, I haven't told her yet. And, like, she's, like, so, like, acting weird, you know? And she's like, oh my gosh. And she was like, it was my dream. I was like, what? Her dream, she was like, you were in that. You were standing in that right now. So I'm like, okay, what? So she tells me about her dream that she just had and woke up to as I came to her, right? And in her dream, it was one of those dreams. She was in the room that she was napping, right? Her room right now. I was in the exact towel, in the exact position I was in when she woke up, with my hair wrapped, everything. It was exactly the same. And in the dream, she was looking at me and I was telling her something and I was like, he's here. And she said, who?
Jeez.
And I turned to this closet that she had that's like open slightly. And it's like a black like line, like it's open, a closet, a sliding closet.
Yeah.
And then I say, he's here. Dennis is here.
Not Dennis.
I know. Oh my God, I got
His
chills.
name would be
oh my
Dennis.
Gosh.
His name would be Dennis.
I got chills.
I remember when you told me this the first time.
I know, like anticlimactic name.
It's like, he's here.
No, his
Dennis.
name would be Dennis. And listen, if Dennis ends up visiting me, I have not showered yet today. If Dennis ends up visiting me, I will not be back for the next episode. This is number 99.
And
Dennis visits Nick.
literally, I said that. I like turn and cue, like point to the closet that's ajar. And then she wakes up in panic because I'm waking her up to tell her about the retainer story that he did.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a proactive ghost. Like in the hour, he pulls out my retainer that he was hiding and shows himself to her, like his name.
He's a planner.
He's a planner, right? No, I use humor to counteract the creepiness and trauma I have from this. But it was safe to say that it was a very scary moment because he named himself. And like he was showing himself, like he asserted himself as like the male figure. And then he like showed up in a dream as like his masculinity and manliness, like overpowering, like squeezing my sister's shoulders and stuff. And then he, now he's like, okay, like you're mad at me? You're telling me what to do? Okay, I'll tell you my name, and I'll show you.
And it's Dennis.
Yeah. Like I'll
He's a little
show
bit of a freak.
myself.
He's a little weirdo.
Yeah, and
it's like, what the heck?
And he showed himself and said his name was Dennis. And it was just like, yeah, this can be summed up to just a huge coincidence. But I mean, what a coincidence,
Yeah. Yeah, no, and in context of every other thing that happened, too. Like, it's not just like those two isolated events. Like, she woke up and, you were telling her about the retainer and she was telling you about the closet. Like, there were other, like, it wasn't like it was just that,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was like the same moment,
Right.
So that definitely put like a bitter taste in her mouth and like, okay, maybe like we wanted to deny some things and like try to rationalize it. And like we're getting to a point where he's not letting us do that anymore. He's like making his mark. So it's definitely creepy and a lot. And I still get tense. You might hear it in my voice like when I talk about these things, but he's not done. Dennis is just starting.
Oh, good.
Anyways, the good news is that like this was spring of 2018 and in 2018 fall, we have to move to college. So, I mean, in between that time, like, yeah, the continued things happen where, things would go missing sometimes, show up. Now I kind of had a name to it or like, I remember once like my foundation was completely, I'm assuming it was my foundation because of like the smell, the color, the texture, splattered in my bedroom wall. And I had never done makeup there, nor like, do I think like, how could it have gotten there? Like paint splatter.
You're like, here, wall, you want to try something? Like...
and it stained the paint. So I was a little annoyed. And I asked like my mom, my grandma that was there at the time, my sister, and everyone was like, no. Like to this day, we don't know what happened. So I'm like, maybe, like just really weird things would happen all the time in our house, whatever. Now we know who it was. It was Dennis. So I would jokingly be like, okay, Dennis, like, darn you, Dennis. Like, just things like that.
Darn you, Dennis.
Yeah.
I love how now we're getting cleaned
Oh,
up.
yeah. Like, my dad would, like, joke around all the time after that. Because, I mean, he didn't really believe, but he was creeped out. So he would, like, use humor and be like, maybe it was Dennis or,
Yeah. You don't laugh, you cry.
Yeah. And then, like, that was like, oh, my gosh, who spilt this in the fridge? Oh, Dennis maybe did it.
Darn you, Dennis.
Like, okay, Dad. Like, maybe you're leaning into this a little too much. So I did get a feeling like, I don't want to say trickster. It was more so a taunting presence and spirit. Like,
Okay.
Like
mean at this point? I mean, he was like grabbing
right? Like
your sister. Like, that's not nice.
I didn't. So in this entire time, I didn't get a feeling like he was like, I hate to use the word evil because I don't believe, I want to caveat this, like, this might be contradictory. I don't believe in like demons. And so this is so crazy that like this happened to me and I believe this. I don't believe in that side, but because of this, and I didn't get like a evil feeling, right? Like that mean out to hurt us.
Right.
Did you get like a predatory vibe?
Yeah, I got a feeling of like that dominant side, like that, like kind of like showing up, like when we would fight back, like taunt or not believe things. More things would happen to like prove their presence or his presence. And I thought it was taunting, like he wanted to scare us, but I didn't feel like anything would go over that. So there was still some type of like comfort in trusting this presence that I didn't even know or like. Anyways, so it's fall 2018 and my sister and I moved together to college out of state, and things stop happening to us. Like, we're in our dorm and it's amazing, and we don't even second guess anything or think of Dennis. And that started happening, like, even when we went home, things would happen and stuff, but we were so, like, just like the walking or sounds and stuff, but we were so, like, happy that in our dorm nothing would happen. It was just more so a sign, like, maybe it was just tied to the house, you know?
Right.
And
which is a common trope in these types of stories.
For sure. And like, so we were happy. We were in a good place. And in 2018, you know, fall and leading up into that first year of college, we were feeling good in our dorm rooms and everything. These instances, I think because we also would like show carelessness, it didn't impact us as much, I would say, until like spring 2019. Something did happen again that was pretty disturbing to me, that I was like downstairs alone at like 1 a.m. watching TV. My family was all upstairs sleeping, and my living room was like in line with my kitchen and my backyard glass door, like a sliding glass door to go to my backyard. Okay. Yep. And basically I'm watching TV, whatever, and I hear a knock on the glass door. Like 3 knocks. I'm like, what the hell? What was that, you know?
Let me just pause for a sec, because when Gabby told this story, I mentioned it was late. We had just finished Big Brother weekend, and I was falling asleep. Not because she was boring me, but because I was just, Nick, you know, like pure exhaustion from the weekend. And
when you host that.
We're in this like old wooden cabin. It wasn't even that old. It was just a cabin in the middle of the woods in torrential rain at like 2 a.m. And Gabby goes, and I jumped 6 feet in the air.
It was so funny. Like, you know when Scooby-Doo jumps into Shaggy's arms? Like, that was
literally what. And I might have jumped into Ryan Baldino's arms.
Literally, it was so
This is what I mean by her storytelling abilities.
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
knocking. Anyway, sorry.
So, but I heard 3 knocks. And at that time, I was just more cautious because it was coming from my sliding glass door in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, like, what is that? You know, because it sounded like someone was knocking, but I was like, maybe that was the wind. And
was anyone home?
So my parents were upstairs sleeping and my sister. Okay. So I walk up. So I'm like, maybe that's my sign to go up and go to bed. So I just go up to go to bed, a little creeped out by the sounds, but I'm like, I'm sure that was the wind or something. And the second I get in line, so from my stairs in kitchen and glass door, imagine a diagonal line, like a diagonal line of view. You know, I can see from the bottom of the stairs straight to the glass door. The second I step foot into that line view of like the glass door, I just get like on the glass, like like those knocks in exactly that pattern.
That one just sent me up in the air.
That was the one that sent you up the first time.
Oh my, I
like,
just sent in the air right now when you did that.
And the thing is, the second time you did it, Justin was no longer in the room. He had left.
Right? So
he was on his way back to Baltimore. He was driving in the middle of the night.
So at that time, I'm like, okay, someone is in our backyard. Someone's at our glass door knocking, and they just saw me. The second they saw me, they knocked even louder and like so scary. So I bolt upstairs, like screaming, like, call 911, call 911. I wake up my parents, call 911. Someone's in the backyard. Someone's in our backyard. They're like, oh my gosh. I tell them, and they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, call 911. Like, this is what happened. They're knocking at me. So this was very real to me that happened. And I'm like, the second they saw me in front of like the glass, they knocked like that. And like, so we call 911 to have police officers come check our backyard. And mind you, now it's like past 1 a.m., almost probably 2 a.m. or something. And they come and they walk through our house, walk through the back door, everything. And there's no signs. Our gate is locked. And like our gate had like this little wire thing that like we wrapped around the lock, you know, just because locks can come unloose.
Yeah.
Anyways, the gate door was closed. There was no signs that someone came in. I mean, it would have been really hard to like jump the gate because it was like a fence all around my backyard, but maybe that happened. To this day, I don't know. And I caveat it with like, yeah, there is a chance maybe someone did that, jumped and left. I don't know what they would have gained from that. I didn't see anyone in the backyard because I immediately looked from my parents' window when that happened. We all did. We were like looking. My mom was like, hey, if anyone's here, like leave now. We're calling the cops.
Right.
Mama bear mode, like protecting everyone. My dad with his bat again, getting ready.
I love the bat.
Would it be your neighbors?
That's my mom's like, she's like, I bet they woke up so many times. So all the screaming that went on in our house, like first like bloody murder scream, now this.
Yeah. I don't know your dad's name, but it's like, oh, there's the guy in his boxers again with his baseball bat.
With the bat. Okay, here's the thing too, like that I would just like to, where was the bat that it was like always in reach? The first thing. The second thing, like not a bad idea to keep one somewhere just in case, but my other fear is that someone like in my family would wake me up in the middle of the night and I would grab the bat and just absolutely pummel them by accident, like thinking it's a, you know what I mean? Like that's where, like think it's an intruder.
It was like behind, so he had like this, I wouldn't say desk, like dresser, sorry, like right next to his bed on his side, and it was like right behind it, so it could be grabbed if needed. Thankfully he didn't ever grab it other than those moments.
Okay.
That's a good point though. And yeah, the police come, there was no one there. So, I mean, and this was 2019. So besides me not experiencing this when I was away, like there were still some things happening, you know, and those things still like, we don't know what happened, but it's just interesting to note, I think, because if it falls under Dennis's shenanigans, then it's really creepy.
Right.
And it's something that like still creeps me out because of like the visceral reaction I had in the moment and like what I feel now. Like it takes me back to that because if it were a ghost or not or whatever it was, it just felt so real and so scary. So I'm leading us down. Sorry, I know this is long.
No, I'm like, oh, Dennis has more. Not in like a, I'm intrigued. I'm like, this man.
Yeah, I know.
What was he doing?
Persistent, which is not very common nowadays.
Yeah. No, you're telling me. You're telling me. This is not, I just want to be clear for all of the jokes I've made on this show throughout 99 episodes. Dennis is not my man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. Like, I do not want.
Thankfully, I don't think he should be anyone's man.
Perfect.
Dang it, Dennis.
Right? That's like catchphrase.
I know.
Although honestly, Dennis, you sound lovely. Just if you're listening,
I know,
like
right?
lovely
like,
guy.
You're fine.
Lovely
You sound
guy.
funny.
I have nothing against him. Just don't show up in my face.
And the other thing too, honestly, no, like all jokes aside, like he wants to be seen, so maybe like he likes us if he's here. I don't know.
Well, I don't claim that energy, so
Okay.
I hopefully even when I do talk about it, I don't think hopefully
I'm gonna end this episode with prayer.
I know.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're in our dorm room. My sister and I were in the same dorm with a third person. And she was great. It was like, in the sense of like, she was fine. She wouldn't do anything weird to us or anything like that.
Well, hopefully
And
not.
she wasn't there most of the time anyways, because she lived in that hometown, so she wouldn't be there. So it was just my sister and I. We're sleeping. Mind you, it's like been almost a year that I'm living in this dorm. And we're sleeping one day, and I wake up in the morning. And for the first time, this is the first thing I noticed. I don't remember going to bed that day. My sister was like under her blankets, super like snug in her bed. I was on top of my bed that was perfectly made, like untouched, which is fine. Like sometimes you fall asleep on your bed untouched. But I woke up on the opposite side of the bed. And that had never happened to me in this dorm, or really like doesn't happen to me in general, but you know, that can happen sometimes, I guess, to us. So I didn't think anything of it. I woke up on the opposite side of the bed, and I look, and my pillows, I had a whole bunch of decorative pillows. Someone who knows me, especially at that time, knows I had like 20 pillows on my bed. I just loved it. And they would stay in like the head of the bed, and they were perfectly propped up, everything. It looked like I hadn't even slept in the bed. They weren't even knocked over. Whatever. I'm like, whoa, I woke up on the other side of the bed. That's weird. I get up to get out of bed. I look down at my arms. And I want to preface this, that this is just a connection to something else I'm sharing. I am not saying this is a paranormal happening. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying that this is still a mystery that I or my family don't know what happened. I don't necessarily think it was paranormal because I don't know how that could happen. I also don't know how it biologically happened. So that was the caveat I wanted to give. Anyways, I wake up, look down, and both my arms to my wrist, from my wrist up until my elbow, had like streaks of blood on it. And I know it was blood because I tasted it because I needed to figure out what was happening.
Right. I feel like most people do that without like when you see blood, it's like,
is this paint or
right?
It was,
it
didn't look like paint. Like, it was clear. Like, but on both arms, like as if I were to wipe, and this is where my mind went, like a bloody nose, like on my arms, like a streak of blood would get there, like, but all over my arms, just up until my elbow from my wrist, no blood on my hands, no blood anywhere else on my body, and pools of blood on my bed. Pools of blood all over my bed, to the point where my sheets and comforters and pillows are still stained to this day with it. I still have it at home as proof. And it had been a while because some of it was even, disclaimer, this might be a little gross, like coagulating. Blood does that after a little bit. But just like circles of blood, but like pools of it. Like it wasn't just a drip. You know what I mean? Like a drop. Even behind the propped up, beautiful pillows. There were 3 pillows, like the one leaning against the wall. And even behind those that were perfectly propped up, there were pools of blood. As if, okay, if I were sleeping, I would have removed the pillow, let whatever was bleeding bleed there, put it back like perfectly, and sleep back to the opposite side of the bed. Anyways, at that point, I didn't realize that. I just realized the blood on my hand, on my arms, ran to the bathroom in panic, washed it off, freaking out. I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, did I get out of my dorm room? Did someone come in, pull a prank? Like, did I hurt someone? That was like something, you know, you always have like,
you wonder,
like, God forbid, like nightmares or like a horror movie. It sounded like one.
Yeah, where you just night killed.
Yeah, like what happened? And I check my body profusely for everything, like freaking out. I'm FaceTiming my mom at this time. I'm about to go wake up my sister. There was no blood in my nose, like no indication. I'm like blowing out my nose. Nothing comes out, no remnants, no blood anywhere on my face, anywhere on my body, no taste of blood in my mouth, in my ears. Even if, you know, you have certain reproductive things that happen to you once a month, you know that there could be blood in other places of your body. There was nothing. Like literally I checked everywhere. So I don't know how. I was trying to cough up, see if something. I don't know how
Right.
much, like, how that amount of blood, how, like, the pools of blood could have gotten, like, how, even if it was bleeding from somewhere, how I could have, like, done it, like, behind pillows without even realizing, and it stacked my pillows beautifully again and then laid down on the opposite side of the bed. Like, it was just not adding up because there wasn't blood anywhere else. So obviously I'm freaking out. I go wake up my sister. Okay. And this is where I would say we transition back into potential paranormal realm.
This?
So
See, I'm like already like, oh my God,
so
we're
this
here.
so I wake up
Nick's
from
like, this is now paranormal.
like, this is all happening. And I have proof, by the way. I showed people on FaceTime, like, this blood stuff, at, like, people that know me
Right.
know this happened. I'm not
Right.
imagining it.
No, I trust me, I didn't for a second think you were
Oh, yeah,
imagining
no.
this.
I think I'm trying to, like, remind myself, like, this happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to wake up my sister, and she wakes up. When she wakes up, like, like, I just had one of those dreams. Like,
oh,
what she means is, like, spirit dream.
right, no.
I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm telling her what's happening. And she tells me about the dream. So I tell her what happened. She's like, oh my God, you don't know what my dream was about. And I was like, what? Please tell me, for the love of God. It had been months since paranormal stuff had not been happening to us. Like, almost that full year, really, at our dorms, it had never happened. And,
That's
like,
what
at
I don't
home,
like, that it was in your dorm. Like, it
yeah, like, we were
moved.
so happy, lovely. It never followed us or anything. And she had this dream. She was like, but this time it was different. I knew it was that type of, like, spirit dream. I felt the same things. Like, I was aware, like, all the stuff. But I was back at our house. She was back at our house.
That's weird.
And she was at, like, this part of our stairs looking up, okay? So, like, let's say it's the bottom, but it's not really the bottom. It's, like, halfway through the stairs, there would be, like, a place for you to stand and look up the rest of the stairs.
There's
going
like a
up.
turn.
Yeah,
the
a
stairs.
turn,
Yeah,
exactly. And if you look straight up, you can see, like, kind of like the hallway area where I had first seen this man, and, like, the hangout area in front of the stairs. She's like,
Okay.
in this dream, I'm standing looking up, and at the top of the stairs is, she knew it was him, Dennis. It was this man looking at her in all army gear, okay? He
So
had
green.
military green stuff on him. And the green that I saw was 2017. Like, that's not in her mind, you know? Like,
Right.
I never understood the green that I saw, and we, like, let that go. And now I'm like, wait, this makes so much sense. And it's
Right.
him, right? It's like him standing at the top of the stairs, like, she's looking at him, and he's all in, like, military gear in green. And she just starts yelling, screaming. She knew it was him at the top of her lungs, like, get the fuck out of my house. Leave us the fuck alone. I think she even, like, prayed in the dream. And she was like, you're not welcome here. Like, leave. Like, you need to leave. Like, just repeating that. And she said she even, like, repeated some other stuff in her dream of, like, you know, like, go. You're not welcome. And she even cussed at him because she was so mad. And she, like, doesn't even really cuss that much, right? So it's like, in this dream, it just all
She actually
flourished.
does cuss a little.
Yeah, she was like, you're not effing welcome in my house, right? Like, leave us alone, all that. And she wakes up from that the same time I'm waking her up from what had just happened to me to tell her. And yeah, that felt like such a closing chapter. Was it so creepy? Yes, but ever since that happened, that dream, nothing, when I tell you nothing, the steps, like, nothing of, like, the little things missing, like, nothing paranormal happened in that house again. And it was just like, I mean, at that time we didn't think that he was, like, it was going to stop, but we were like, wait, like, months later, we're like, nothing else has happened.
Right.
So, you know, like, that's a closing chapter. She told them to leave. Is it in coincidence with the really biological mystery I had? What happened to me? I still don't know to this day. Yeah, it was that same night. And, you know, that was it. He left, I think.
I wonder, do you think like if, and again, I'm saying this as if like I'm now like, oh, this is what ghosts need to leave. Like, I don't mean it like that, but like, do you think that was like his permission to leave?
Yeah.
Like, do you think he was looking to be released? Like, and that's why he was making himself so known?
I think back to like all that happened and the moments where we would fight back so emotionally and intently, like funny, like the retainer, like I was mad at him, whatever. And now, like, I think that, is a way of like, she told him, like, we don't want to put up with your bullshit anymore. Like, leave. And maybe that's what he needed to stop. I don't know. I'm saying he as if it's something. I don't know what it is. I don't.
Right.
And you never had any interaction or experience after that.
So that leads me.
Okay.
To, that was a goodbye. 2019, nothing else happened. And at this point, my parents believe what we're saying, but they're still skeptics. My mom, like, she was they're skeptics, but they believe, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
they don't think we were like, they think this happened. They're not skeptics. They just don't want to accept that certain things can happen. Or they don't think like this can happen in general, like paranormal stuff too much, but they think our case was real.
Right. So it's like a disbelief, like you like don't want to believe something.
Yeah,
like that.
But if it happens to you, how can you not?
Right.
And but my mom, I don't think she fully said out loud like, okay, I believe this fully until, and this is the last thing. So this happened at this house. 2019 was when we said bye to that dream. And in 2021, my parents are moving. They're moving to a new house, unrelated, just because they're moving. And, they had been like packing up and moving things out of the house over the course of a few days. And my mom only has like a few things left to move out of the house. And it happened to be the like 2 chunks of clothes or 3 chunks of clothes hanging in her master suite closet.
Motherfucking closet.
The motherfucking closet, right? Like this is like the last things to move out were like in that closet. Whatever.
Of course they were.
I want to highlight too, like after that happened in 2019, I was able to go into the closet. I never felt negative things anymore. I never felt scared, which was after
the
years.
blood experience and after your sister's dream.
After my sister's dream. So like it really had felt like everything lifted and it was awesome. Back to 2021 when my mom's moving out, the last thing, and she sent me like a screenshot of the time and stuff. It was like at 6:50 a.m. something happened. So this was probably around like 6:40 a.m. She was moving things out. Of course, like she's alone moving things out, and she's walking down the stairs with this pile of like clothes and hangers in her hand.
Okay.
And behind her, like right behind her, she hears this like super loud. Like she literally doesn't, sorry, that was like probably aggressive into the mic.
It's okay.
So
break people's ears.
This deep, loud grunt, male deep voice grunt in her ear and behind her from the stairs. So the first thing is like she didn't know what happened. She thought like, is someone here? Like what is happening? She is 2 steps from the bottom, thank God, because she like jumps down essentially. She could have like really
hurt
messed
herself
up. She bolts out of the house and falls in front of this like, we had this huge terracotta vase, which is probably like 4 feet. Like it was really high and like beautiful that we've had since I was a child. Anyways, it was in front of the house and she falls. Like she's in so much distress, like trying to run out of the house. She falls on it and it breaks. But thank God she had all the clothes in her hands because she didn't get cut. It smashed into like pieces and stuff. Wow. But she didn't get cut. But she did, like, it hurt. Like she fell on the floor and everything.
Right.
And like she didn't go back there alone. She had a friend go and like help her after. But she now after that is like, okay, that was the piece I needed. Like it happened directly to me. I do believe everything 100%. And I think that that's what the last hurrah that Dennis had. Like, we were moving out. It was like the last things before we left the house. And I think it was like just to show years later, like 2 years later, that he was saying like, bye, like, see ya, you know?
That's crazy, because so now I kind of take back what I said, not take back, but like the whole dream and the
Permission to
leave. I guess he did not leave.
Well, he did for a while. He just made it.
He came back though.
2 years.
I hope to think he did, like, and that's never happened. Like, thank God, it's nothing that follows. And I think it was really just tied to that space. Like, I've talked about this before, and like, nothing ever happens. And I truly protect my peace in the idea that it never would. And that extends to anyone that listens to this. But it's just a very impactful story that happened to us. And I don't know if it was real or not, like parts of it, you know, like you can't say 100% what paranormal, like there's no concrete evidence, but it was real to me and my family and what happened.
Right.
So
Right.
I just have like a clarifying question. So you say it never left that space, but you did experience that, the situation with the blood in your dorm, but
yes,
your sister was having that dream about the house. So like, was it still tied? I mean, there's no answer, but
yeah, exactly. So like, that was the only moment that it ever like, quote unquote, left that space. Again, I don't know about the blood situation. What explains that mystery per se? I just know it was a really huge coincidence that happened with the dream where she was placed back at the house, which was also the first time. She had never had a dream that wasn't in the room she was currently in, except for that one.
That is wild. I, for one, I know this is not why you came on here by any means, but I believe you. Like, I fully believe you. Again, not that you need like my, like the point of due seal of approval, but like you're really
I appreciate you saying
very grateful to you for coming on and sharing the story, because it is profound. Like, it's Justin looks like
I know,
he
and
wants to say
we can
something.
leave it up to, well, I was going to say, we can leave it up to our listeners to like, for their own interpretations, but I believe you too. And I just, when you first told me, it was such an impactful story and that it happened to you, whether, I don't know, people, like I said, people can leave it up to their own interpretations, but just, I've never heard anything like that before. I do have one more question for you. Nick, did you have something to say before I ask?
Well, I was just going to say, I want to point out that I am alone at home right now. So, and I do have to shower, but like, I might not. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm so sorry.
My hair looks good enough. Like, maybe I just go to work. But maybe I call Justin after this and he
get some coffee.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe not coffee.
I do have one more question.
I do too, but you go first.
If you were fruit,
I was gonna say that. Me too. Me too.
You guys are so funny.
Because we completely forgot to ask. But I'm kind of glad that we did, because we can kind of like
Let's debrief with humor,
have
please.
some buffer. Yeah. Have some buffer between. But Gabby, we ask all of our guests on the show, and I can give you the background off air because our listeners might have heard it so many
16 times.
But if you were a fruit, what fruit would you be and why? And we've gotten answers from like strawberries, because I like strawberries, to like, I think a kumquat represents the meaning of life. Like, it, you know, super profound. To like,
Oh, goodness.
So you can,
Okay, I have the idea where I want to. Okay, a cherry. I have 2 reasons why. Oh wait, why?
a cherry.
I think
Oh,
this
cherry!
is the first cherry we've had.
Oh my
Aside
gosh!
from me.
Heck yeah!
Woo!
Besides
Cherries can be sweet and tart, so a little, you know, of best of both worlds. Has a strong core, which I want to hold. My core, like who I am and my morals and how I think I want to approach life. And when we see cherries, they come in 2, and I have an identical twin sister, so a cherry.
I love that. I love your answer. I love your explanation. We have similar answers, or similar descriptions, or not descriptions, but sort of explanations. But I love that, we, you know, both picked cherry. You are the first person to say cherry.
Oh, I
like
feel
first
special.
guess.
Woo, woo.
But also we focused on the same parts of it. We weren't just like, oh, it's like a summer fruit, know.
Aw, I love
That
that.
sounds like a jab at me because when I say mine, I'm like, well, it's a summer fruit and I like
What is
summer.
I think
yours?
yours is you didn't say that. You said you were odd looking. Not odd. You were unique looking.
What? What is yours?
I said pineapple, and I said because
Pineapple.
I like his pineapple's a tropical fruit. I love warm weather because I'm always cold. It's a summer fruit, as Nick said. I was born in July, and
Aw.
I feel like pineapples are unique looking, and I feel like I'm unique looking.
That sounds like a
odd-looking,
jab
Nick.
at yourself, though. Like I'm unique.
Yeah, I know.
looking.
Every time I
Unique,
say it.
not odd.
Not odd.
That's a
looking.
motto.
Oh my
Unique, not
gosh.
odd.
Unique, not
But
odd.
they both sound like a
Hi,
jab.
I'm Justin.
Like,
Unique, not
to
odd.
Be like, guys, I'm unique looking. Like Justin is a very handsome person. Like I would not be like Justin Dew. He's unique looking. Like
He's unique looking.
Um,
Well,
So funny.
can we also just very quickly say Justin sent this to me last night. There's like a bracket of fruits going around right now, and they're like positioning it as like a
tournament,
knockout.
like
Oh.
the best fruits. Yeah,
Like it's like,
against
oh,
each other.
pineapple just knocked out this fruit, and it's like two boxers, but then their like faces are
But they're
fruits and
fruit.
stuff.
It's like March Madness, but for fruits.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love that.
And cherry, and this has because Justin did then bring it up to me that somebody very important to us is a dragon fruit, but cherry just got beaten out by dragon fruit, and I am sorry. Let's take away like the identities of like what fruits we relate to. How many people have had dragon fruits that they're like, yes, that beats a
I
cherry?
know.
They're just saying it because it's cool.
Yeah, because it's unique looking.
It is unique looking. Dragon fruits and
It does sound like you're taking
If
this
a
very
cherry's
personally.
basic, I'll be basic. Like, it's
right?
okay.
Like it got taken out very early. It was like the first round, and I was like, this is disrespectful to the cherry because like
Pineapple is still in the running.
oh, we might win.
it's about to get taken out. I'm telling you right now. Watermelon. It's because it's
Where
on the
are
same
you
side.
accessing this?
We're gonna have to post this
We
up. I'll
are,
show you when we're
But
done
it's on. I
recording.
think your next matchup. I say yours is against watermelon.
Me, I am the pineapple.
And to be honest, watermelon should win because not just because I think watermelon is going to, but because watermelon is the origin of our story of what fruit would you be and why.
Fair.
So I feel
Fair.
like
Oh,
watermelon
that's
should
nice.
win.
Come around.
Fair. All right.
Right?
I like that. You've won me over.
Right?
Anyway, Gabby, thank you so much for being willing to come on to
Of
share your
course.
story. We hope you had fun. I'm so glad that I get to share you with our listeners and
Yes,
just our
thank
friendship. I'm so
you.
glad. But thanks, Gabby. Yay!
Thank you
Um,
guys.
Thank you.
Anyway, my name is Justin Dew.
And I am Nick Gervasi. And our next episode, like we said, episode 100. So stay tuned for that. If we're not back in exactly 2 weeks, it's because we are planning a really big, really special episode for you. It's so big and special that we don't know what we're going to do in it yet, but we are going to get there. We have
Being honest.
what is it? We have the beginnings of a plan. What did he say? Unfortunately,
I have concepts of a
concepts of a plan. What a goon. All right.
Yeah. You can reach us at our email, pointofviewpodcast at you can reach us at our email at pointofviewpodcast at gmail.com and on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok at pointofviewpodcast and X at pointofview. If you enjoy our show, make sure to follow the podcast and give us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts, or share us with a friend or family member. We really appreciate it and are truly grateful for all of your support. As always, we hope you have a great insert amount of time until our next episode comes out here. Thank you for listening, and until next time.
H.